So here we are out in some relatively old forest. You can see it's quite clear in between the trees, but the canopy is shading well enough that not a whole lot of stuff grows in the forest floor. I also want to point out all the debris that's here. Mother Nature is the one we want to mimic if we want to get our farming and growing right. And so the easiest way to do that is to go out and study her from time to time. So as I've gained more and more knowledge about farming and organics and soil health and all that kind of stuff, I found it more and more interesting every time I come out in the woods and I look at the mulch layer that's on the forest floor. So I'm just going to let you have a close look at all the different bits and pieces that are there for starters. Oh, and there's a cricket. And then as we dig in, you see this next layer where there's all this fungal mass and a lot of like rotted material. And if you're looking closely there, you'll see there's like all sorts of little bugs, spiders, what have you. And this layer goes on for a bit. There's some sand mixed in there. The soil must be a relatively sandy bar here. And then you get down into the harder clays underneath. But it's interesting to see how there's like a natural mulch and then it breaks down over time. Also, I should point out this little mushroom right here. A lot of fungal activity in here. Oh, and there's a lot of oak leaf in here. Oh man, that oak leaf gives me such a wonderful feeling. I had put that down on one of the first years I learned about critical points of influence on corn. I had put that down as a mulch on one of my corn plots, and they did really well that year. I've had a couple of people who are very familiar with growing ask me if I was concerned about changing the pH of the soil. I said no, I've never had a problem with that. And I think when you understand the soil biology part of it better, you understand that the soil has a tremendous capacity to buffer pH if the biology is right and the microbes are active and happy and healthy. If you have good living soils, you don't really run into that problem. There's a lot of science you could look into on that, but I'm not going to go deep into that. But it is interesting. I think we got some kind of a bug here. Yeah, I think that's a brown marmorated stink bug. Interesting. He sure is. I'm sorry if this is kind of slow for some people, but I think some of you who really want to understand these living systems better will kind of get it. I hope you will. Love to hear your comments or thoughts, yay or nay, either one. Let's see. This is interesting here. I think that might be a fungi. I think my friend Steve was telling me about this. I think this is like a plant that doesn't grow with chlorophyll or something like that. I'll have to ask him more about that. Oh, and look at that. Look at that. In the natural system, right next to that fungi or plant or whatever it is a whole bunch of deer turds. So we have the biology and the nutrition from a ruminant animal on the floor of the forest here. And in conjunction with mulch. Interesting. I think I'll leave the camera on as we walk here for a little bit and just kind of let you see it on a broader scale. We'll walk it with you on a broader scale. Interesting, here we have a down cherry branch with all sorts of fungi growing on it. Those might be turkey tail. I'm not sure. I can never remember how to identify those, so I don't mess with them. But lots of fungi growing on that. In here we get a little more light and there's a little bit more growth. Here's an upturned tree from the wind, probably from that storm back in March. That's quite a root ball. You can see where it broke off a lot of its roots too. Alright, see what else I find.